It is 5:03 p.m. and I'd like to call the meeting to order and point out that we have caller number 1 and caller number 2 and ask them to please restrain from questions and comments until we come to that agenda item number 11. Okay, I'm going to do a roll call now. Tom Tebow.
Here.
Dennis Sheedy.
Here.
Chrisanne Sheedy.
Here.
Don Burrows.
Here.
And Pam Whittup Chair is here, and let the records show that Easton Community Access Television, and it looks like Joe Borman are present and recording this meeting. And like I mentioned, it appears we have 2 callers. Okay, agenda item number 1 is the November 2020 warrant approval in the amount of $153,641.27.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 2020 warrant in the amount of $153,641.27.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Don Burrows to approve the November 2020 warrant. Is there any questions or discussions?
I just had one on the section, the housing assisted payments, first page. It's Avalon.
They're going through the budget and all that.
Can we mute the callers?
Maybe you could, Kathy?
I cannot mute the caller.
If the callers could mute, please. You will be able to come on at the end, but we can hear what you're having to say.
Okay.
To mute, Carly, you would hit *6.
Or, okay,
So I just had a question on the Avalon Communities payment on November 4th. Looks like the payment was in the amount of $1,897, but it looks to be less of the actual rent. So I'm just curious what that is.
That's a partial payment for a rent change that occurred for that unit.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
any other questions from the board regarding the November 2020 warrant? I would make a comment myself that I noticed there were a couple of payments that looked like maybe they were interim. Jane had explained to me how that works a while ago.
Oh, good. Yes.
So, okay, hearing no further discussion, I'm going to do a roll call vote for the approval of the November 2020 warrant in the amount of $153,641.27. Let's see here, we've got Don Burrows,
Yes.
Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Chair Whittup is a yes, so it's a unanimous vote. And agenda item number 2, the December 2020 warrant, is just a minor error in the cents amount of that's listed on the agenda and on the cover sheet. So I'm going to read the correct amount. December 2020 warrant in the amount of $213,438.20 as opposed to 37 cents.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 2020 warrant in the amount of $213,438.20.
I'll second that motion.
Pam, you're the only one that would find that 17 cents.
Thank you, Pam.
Yes,
Like to be
just a
precise.
numbers person, I'm sorry.
One apologize.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Burrows for the approval of the December warrant. Is there any discussion or questions from the board?
I have two questions. One, Kathy, this is might not be related directly to the warrant, but the COVID cleaning, how are we doing with that against the money that was sent to us from DHCD related to COVID?
Very well. That's a non-issue at the moment. The money we got from COVID for DHCD was 62,000. So we're still well within the line. As a matter of fact, we did just order a bunch of hand sanitizing stations for all entryways too, here at the authority.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good news. That's very good news. I wish the same was true where I was from. We spent that. And then there's just one other one. On page 4 of 8, there's a charge for $60. It's just no memo description. It's to AA Systems Contractor.
And that's the office security, sorry. That's
Okay.
the off-site security monitoring fee. That's for 3 months.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, no further questions or comments? Hearing none, I will do a roll call vote now to approve the December 2020 warrant in the amount of $213,438.20. Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Chair Woodup votes yes, so that is also unanimously approved. The next item on the agenda is the November 10th, 2020 minutes approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the November 10th, 2020 minutes as written.
I will second that motion.
Okay, it looks like I got Chris Ann's voice first, so we have, thank you, Tom. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy to approve the November 10th meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? No questions, no discussion? Hearing none, we'll pull a roll call vote on approving the November 10th, 2020 Easton Housing Authority minutes.
We have a box down here I can bring up.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Chair Widdop votes yes, so it's unanimous. Agenda item number 4 is the December 2nd, 2020 Eastern Housing Authority Board of Commissioners minutes.
Is it the second, Pam? Because the minutes are saying the 8th.
It should be the 8th. That was a typo on the agenda. I apologize.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 8th, 2020 minutes as written.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a technical correction by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to approve the December 8th Easton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting minutes. Is there any discussion or questions?
Kathy, if I may, I just want to say that I did see her bill in the previous warrant. I forget which one, and I thought it was around $75 or so. She just does an outstanding job.
She does, she's very good, thank you.
How
Very
long have
cool.
you been doing the minutes for us?
2 years maybe?
Is there ever any consideration to increase her fee?
Yes, I think we just did recently, I think she increased it by $10,
Okay.
yeah.
I think that that's a good thing, because I will also say that I was realizing when I was reading these minutes that it's very professionally done.
Thank you. I'm sure she watches it. She'll be very happy to hear that.
Cool.
That's how she transcribes the minutes.
Okay, just gonna remind the callers to please mute either on their phone or I guess on their phone, they must have a mute button. So we are going to do a roll call vote to approve the December 8th minutes for the Easton Housing Authority Board of Directors meeting. Roll call, Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Chair Widdop votes yes, so that is unanimous. The next item on the agenda is the financial statements from our accountant for the period of ending November 30th, 2020. May I have a motion? Or these are ones we would just put on file? Okay, is there any questions or comments?
I just have one question, Kathy. From reading this and the next item, I assume that we took out money from our reserves to put to Eisenhower Drive, which is that the cause of the negative 136 on the 400C program?
I would have to pull, hang on 1 second, Tom. We actually didn't. What happened was DHD reallocated some of the funding, so we had the proceeds from the house, which was a 224,790. We received 88,589 from the Affordable Housing Trust, and DHCD through the HILAP funding was 121,641.
So the reason, I believe the reason this looks this way, and this is just for clarification on my part, that we received income in the previous year and the
Correct.
expense for this year.
Yes,
So our reserves were inflated last year. We're taking that money out. Okay, excellent.
yes.
Thank you. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Excuse me, on page 7 of 8, the account 4611, could I have a brief explanation of that, please?
Expendable, that's depreciation in some of the equipment as far as maintenance equipment goes.
I believe. Well, that's not expended equipment is. Good question, Dawn.
Okay, Kathy, it shows that the technology allowance was $5,000 budgeted. And it appears as though you've spent $3,909.99 on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other two items were items that were not budgeted. Maintenance equipment, $1,679.20, and file cabinets, $27.80 and 34 cents. Is that what you're asking about, Dawn?
Yes, I just a brief explanation of what that was, yeah.
So that's the expendable equipment. The non-expendable is 7520. I've never seen anything in there. Expendable equipment is stuff that after a period of time, as Kathy said, it's gonna be worthless. You don't have it for any value. Non-expendable equipment, I think, I'll look into that,
Thank you.
just out of my curiosity.
From my accounting background, the equipment, there's a ceiling, a dollar value ceiling, and a life expectancy that is figured into whether or not it's expendable or non-expendable or depreciated, and then classified as a depreciation expense.
So equipment, I know I've seen a lot of policies under $5,000, you don't put it as a capital expenditure, so it doesn't depreciate. Perhaps that's it. I thought it was a good question.
Yeah,
It is.
no, absolutely. And typically, Dawn, the fee, that's why we have the fee accountants, because they're the professionals with what you can and can't do with those items.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions from the board on this, the financial statements, accountant's compilation report as of November 2020? Hearing none, I guess I'll do a roll call that we just put it to the file since there was no changes to it. So I'm going to call a roll call vote to just
You
accept this.
want me to make a motion first, Pam?
Probably should, yep.
I'll make a motion to accept the
November financial.
it's for November 2020 and put them on file.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Burrows to place the accountant's compilation for November 2020, the financial statements on file. Please voice your approval with a yes or no. Commissioner Burrows,
Yes,
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Christian,
Yes,
and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wood is also a yes, so it's unanimous. Okay, now we have a budget revision, agenda item number 6, a budget revision to the fiscal year ending March 1st, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve budget revision number 1, 401 budget.
Second.
What was that? I wasn't watching. Dennis? Okay, thank you, Dennis. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow and a second by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy to approve the budget revision for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2021. Is there any questions, or maybe Kathy, you could explain to us, is it a combination of things or is it one amount?
No, it's a combination. It's the COVID funding that we did receive from the Department of Housing, as well as the money spent for the purchase of Eisenhower. Because the line items were above the 10% threshold, we had to file a revision.
Any questions from the board regarding this revision to the budget? Hearing none, we'll move along with a roll call and a vote to approve this budget revision. Commissioner Von Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Chair Widdop is yes, so it's unanimous. Okay. The next agenda item, number 7, is the certificate of substantial completion on each number 088068.
I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of substantial completion for fish number 088068.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy to approve the certificate of substantial completion on fiche number 088068, which is the job in, I believe it's a Lee Circle, replacing the Federal Pacific panels. Is there any questions or discussion from the board? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Chair Widdop is yes, so it's unanimous to approve the certificate of substantial completion on fiche number 088068. And now the agenda item number 8 is the certificate of final completion in the amount of $1,472.97 for this same fiche number 088068, the Federal Pacific panels.
I will make a motion that we approve the certificate of final completion for fish number 088068 in the amount of $1,472.97.
I'll second that.
Motion. You got it, Dawn.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And we have a motion by Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Don Burrows to approve the certificate of final completion for the Federal Pacific panels in the amount of $1,472.97. Any questions or comments?
Just, Kathy, the job's over. You're happy with how it went?
Yes, very happy, yeah, absolutely, they were good, they were thorough, and they were in and out of here quickly.
Okay, great, thank you.
It's an awesome thing to get rid of those Federal Pacific panels.
Yes, it is.
Hearing no further discussion on this agenda item number 8, I will move for a roll call vote to approve the certificate of final completion on fiche number 088068, the Federal Pacific panels, in the amount of $1,472.97. Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Oh, I'm sorry, and Chair Widdop votes yes, so it's unanimous. I noticed watching the minutes from another meeting that I forgot to do that one time. I'll try to catch myself. Agenda item number 9, employee vacation time discussion and approval. I'll give the floor to you, Kathy, if you'd like to talk about it.
Yes, thank you. We do have 2 employees, due to COVID situations that occurred in the office quite a few times this year, who are not able to use all their vacation time, unfortunately. And but they're allowed to carry over 2 weeks per year, 10 days. So one of the employees has the 16.95 days, which is almost 7 days of time that they would lose if they're not allowed to either carry it over or get paid out for it. The other employee only has 2.44 days. Both important. I talked to the fee accountant regarding this. As far as the maintenance employee, we're underrunning that line item so much that it wouldn't even make a difference for maintenance salary right now. And admin salary, we're also running under that line item at this point in the year for the salaries. That we could absorb both costs and it wouldn't make a difference. The only way that it may make a difference is when we go to submit with the budgets this year for our 5 highest salaries, DHCD may see that the admin salary is slightly higher than what was budgeted for, even though we'll remain within our line item for admin salary. So I did attach our current policy to the back of this, under the vacation leave. And it does say, unless otherwise approved by the board, each calendar year, all employees shall take vacation of a duration equal to the leave that he or she shall accrue for the calendar year upon December 31st. A lot of this was due to COVID. We did have a few situations where employees did have to take 2 weeks off due to family members that they came in close contact with testing positive for COVID. When they did that, they had to take 2 weeks of sick time and then catch up on work, unfortunately. Sometimes they'd work from home even though they didn't have to, at least in the admin sense. So it's because of what's been going on this year that this is now a situation. So it's really a board's decision on how to go forward with this.
Looking at this, Kathy, my opinion, I think I've voiced this before, is that we have an awful low carryover. And the reason for that is you don't want someone in 1 year being able to take so much time that it affects you, or that when they retire, it negatively affects you financially. But I think 2 weeks for Dawn, who's been around, I shouldn't say that, for the person who's been around for so long, that it should be increased up to 1 year's of whatever she's accumulating at. That's my opinion on that. But I certainly would support the carryover of it. I don't like the payment of it because the others had to use their time, and I knew if I was a person and I knew that they'd buy back some of my vacation time, I might save that up to do that because those funds would be valuable to me. And
if I may, it doesn't affect any other staff besides myself.
right, but so there's the other people used all their time, right?
Well, the other people aren't allotted time. The other 2 admin people are part-time and do not receive benefits.
Okay.
It's just myself and Dawn that receive the benefit. And I don't have, obviously, an issue with this. And again, I mean, this might be something that the board would like to revisit and change the policy as well. I don't know.
Do either of them have a preference to accrue the time or to receive it in a cash disbursement?
Yes, I know that one would prefer the cash disbursement. And quite truthfully, I think that's a better option, just with the backlog of work and doing what we can with what's going on this year. Personally, I would think that would be the way to go in this because we can't absorb that cost.
I don't have a problem with that this year, but this is something that is we've dealt with when I first came on the board. We had a gentleman who had a lot of time off, but he couldn't take it off because of the structure of the organization, and it caused problems. So if we're doing it, it's got to be an exception. Paying people out at the end of the year is a budget item, and I understand we can afford it this year. And this is not about the employees. It's just a workplace environment. And again, maybe I'm a little biased on this because I'm being asked on a regular basis, could I sell my vacation time back? Could I sell my vacation time back? And, other people are using it all the time. So that's just my opinion on that. My only, I would like to go on record as saying that I would support it this time, but I would be very, very unlikely to support it in the future.
Kathy, could I ask how many weeks does the maintenance personnel get?
3.
3 weeks?
Mhm.
He couldn't use 2 weeks all year?
Well, he did use his time, some of his time. He had carryover from last year. They're allowed to carry over 2 weeks every year.
So it's 5 weeks, so 3 weeks, okay.
Yeah.
I can see the problem on the other end because she's maxed up. I mean, that's been maxed out, so.
Mhm.
I also have reservations about paying it out. I don't have a problem with them carrying it over and using it. It's, to Tom's point, it's unfair to the other maintenance men that they use their time where if they knew they had the option, they might have held on to it, turned it in.
I know, but again, it's because of what's been going on this year. And these 2 particular employees were affected by the COVID, and that's part of the reason they couldn't use the time. Granted, they were out, but they used sick time, which was an allowable reason for that. And
They
in
weren't
fact-
actually using their sick time at that
Yeah.
point, correct?
Yes, yes.
So our authority has a policy in place to allow 2 weeks of payout of vacation time so that there is not an excessive accrual and it doesn't really come into play all that often. It's actually out of 7 to 8 employees, there might be 1 or 2 that cash out 2 weeks at the end of the year. Some people prefer to just continue to accrue it and use it. I think it's a really good option for people to have. And if it's something that we review on a case-by-case basis, I think it also is something that should be available to the director as well. Because in these circumstances, it has been literally impossible on occasion to take your time depending on COVID, what's going on, your own personal life or sick time. So I just think we need to build the flexibility in to a degree. And I think if we are able to afford it, maybe that's it. We just review it each year based on where we stand in the budget.
Okay, that said, Kathy, you didn't include yourself in this. And my little birdies might tell me that that could be an issue too.
It's a non-issue, no, sir.
Let me ask a different way. Did you have time you didn't use?
No, I use my time.
Okay.
I'm going to ask it in a different way. Did you feel under the gun that you had to use your time and had no other option?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I agree with that. I think I'm under the gun to use my time. Dennis is under his, I think you should. And you should find it out. And I've seen the other way. Remember where we came from. When it came into the authority, we could have paid out a guy tens and tens of thousands of dollars for his vacation time. And he was a good employee. He didn't do it to do that. We allowed that to happen. I saw it happen at the housing authority I'm at. So again, I have this year, I do agree, we have a tremendous amount of vacancies. There's a tremendous amount of work to be done there. And I think the money would be well spent. But I'm just going on record because we have such great minutes. And I wanted to say that also, that when we look at this in the future, and I was on record that saying that I think people should plan to use their time. It's one of the difficult things in being in public service. We have very generous packages.
Yeah, and I agree that people should use their time. We need the break. We need to get away. We need to take vacation and not accrue it. And we don't want to inherit large payouts upon retirement or at year end. So that's why if you put a cap to it and people are still only allowed to accrue so much going forward. I mean, you can only accrue 1 year's worth of benefits. And then, you know, you still can be up against it to try and use all that time. And in a smaller authority where you've got so many restrictions and you're trying to balance it with so many other people, well, not so many other people, that's the problem. There aren't enough other people to kind of balance it against. You're often under the gun. You just can't manage to do it.
My final question, Kathy, would be that the payout would only be for excess of 2 weeks. Is that correct? So it'd be.
It would be 7 days, just about 7 days for the admin person and 2.4 days for the maintenance person.
So after what I said, I'll make the motion that the authority allow for the payment of the excessive days, 6.95 for admin and 2.44 for the maintenance department.
Second,
Was that Dennis Sheedy, the second?
yes.
Okay. Okay, I want to make sure I got the motion correct, Tom. You're specifying that the maintenance person is going to be 6.44?
No,
2.44.
2.44. Okay. And and what was the amount for the admin employee?
6.95.
6.95. Okay. Okay, so a motion has been made by Tom Tebow and seconded by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy to allow a buyout of unused vacation time for the admin employee in the amount of 6.95 days, and for the maintenance employee, 2.44 days. Did I get that correct, folks?
Yes.
I'm going to do a roll call vote since we've already had the discussion. Thank you very much, by the way, for those excellent questions. Dawn, did you have any questions?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to do a roll call vote now. Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy.
Yes.
And Chair Whittup approves with a yes, so it is unanimous. Okay, and the agenda item number 10 is the executive director's updates. I would like to give the floor to our executive director, Kathy Steiger, now.
thank you. As you can see, we have leased quite a few units, but we also have quite a few more vacancies. Dawn is diligently working on pulling more lists. She actually just yesterday pulled another list for Eisenhower Drive, and that's a list full of 35 people. That being said, we're also still having issues trying to find a contractor to do a lead abatement at Eisenhower Drive. It's because of building materials. They need to replace windows, and a lot of them are saying we're not going to be able to get them. So we're still working on that. We're actually dealing with 2 contractors currently, basically pleading with them to accept the job, either one of them, so we can get this house, occupied. So we're working on that. As far as the elderly units, we have a situation where we're on a hold, a standstill, while DHCD reviews our current list based on a close contact that's possibly getting housed. So we have to wait for approval from DHCD before we can pull another list for first floor.
Can I ask about that, Kathy? I've sent in that list to a dock hole before. How long has that been?
A week. and we emailed them yesterday, and they said, thanks for your patience, we're working on that.
Okay, you know, there's a family waiting to go into a place now, right?
Yes. This
They
is
need-
holding us to, yeah, it's holding out, pulling another list to start working on for the first 4 units. We are pulling a list for the 2 second floor units that we have. So we did just pull that list to work on those. But until we hear from them, we really can't do anything with the first 4 units until this list has been quantified.
Okay, Joe, I'll be in touch.
So we're waiting on that.
So this is what we do, and please just, if there's anything that I can do to help, this is what we do. We put people into housing. And stop pure because they're related to someone. Take a look at it and yes or no.
Yeah, and it's a pretty solid case. It's very easy to say yes or no to. I don't really know what the holdup is.
I would be, you know, if it was my relative or myself and I was sitting someplace desperate for housing, I might not appreciate someone sitting in their house reviewing it when they get to it.
On a good news note, the roofing contractors are just flying through at a Lee Circle. They're actually, I think they've got 1 building left. They are doing an amazing job. We couldn't be happier, knock on wood that continues. I've already submitted the paperwork to the community preservation people because that's the funds that it will get paid from. But this contract has done a great job. We've heard minimal complaints from any of the residents, so I'm hoping everything went well. So that's moving along and should be done very soon. So we kind of beat the snow with the roof leaks up there, if you will. So that worked out well. A capital plan has been approved, which was good. I didn't think that it would not get approved, but that worked out well. And we've got a designer now for the fire alarm project and the Elise community room. We have a designer on board for that as well. So we are moving along with a lot of these projects, even in spite of COVID. So we'll be busy with all of that, which is all good.
A question actually on back to Eisenhower. Are the windows that they're looking to replace, have they got a very unusual window that they're requesting, or is there anything that can be done to make it a more, it's easier to get a hold of the windows? Are they just putting out something that's not standard, or?
The windows that are currently there are unusual, but we've already indicated we'll take whatever window you can make fit in there, we will accept. The problem is building materials. So backlogged because of COVID, but the contractors are having troubles getting the items. They're saying, we're looking at ordering windows and they're not going to come in till April. And the contract's only, 30-day. We'll have to extend the contract. We're doing it because it's under 10,000. We're doing it ourselves with the help of the ARCAT. So there's a lot of wiggle room with what we can accept. I said, even if you have to change the shape of the opening, whatever it takes. So we're still waiting to hear from 2 of the contractors. I was hoping to hear from one of them today, but I haven't yet. And ARCAT's been great too. They've been reaching out to a lot of the contractors that they're aware of, and they're all booked too.
I'd like to ask a question on that same topic. Have the 2 contractors that are being considered been to Eisenhower Drive to see? Okay.
One of them has been there 3 times, so yes.
Okay. Well, he's trying to help you. I love to listen to my carpenter son talk to me about his jobs. And in this weather, doing windows is a bear. And in this weather, doing windows that are not going to fit right into that hole in the wall can be a double bear. 2 bears.
Well, and you have to have the right asbestos compliant component of that. That's why it's contractor specific.
Yes, yes, I was going to ask you about that. Was that part of the reason
Yes,
why it's,
we can't just use a standard contractor.
it will deal with a lead paint covered window that they're removing? I see.
We even told the contractors, we would give them a key to the house, and they could even get in there on a Saturday or a Sunday to do the work because it was not occupied, and we would make it work. So we're hoping that helps. I don't know if it will or not.
Sounds like you're being very accommodating. That's good.
We try.
Excuse me.
And the other thing too is it seems that it's going slow finding a family for that house, right?
Yes, yes.
So maybe somehow there would be harmony in this?
Maybe.
Any other discussions about the executive director's report? And now, agenda item number 11 is questions and comments from our callers. And I would like to remind the callers to introduce themselves and stick to the agenda items that we discussed, if possible. Callers, do you have any questions for the board? Don't forget
I
to-
don't myself.
Okay, I was going to say, don't forget to unmute yourself.
I'm not really sure how to do that on this phone, but I find the everything to be very professional, very well conducted.
Thank you, caller number 1. How about caller number 2? Have you got any questions? Don't
No.
forget. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much, commissioners and callers. And I'm showing it's 5:50 p.m. and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy and a second from Commissioner Don Burrows to adjourn this meeting of the Easton Housing Authority. I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Chair Widdop. I vote yes, so it's unanimous to adjourn. And I just would like to remind everybody to stay safe and healthy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good
Yes,
night.
everyone, please stay safe. Be well.
Have a good evening. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Do you too.
Bye-bye.